Volatility is up by 33%. We have the Qs crossing down on a daily MACD, giving a red impression on the histogram. And that is why I think it's important we do at least some technical analysis for the SPY and the Qs. I forgot that I had something on my schedule, so I'm trying to crank this out real quick, but I wanted to at least be able to focus on some things that are pretty important here, which are the daily expected moves. Okay, so for today, we are going to be showing you those daily expected move for the SPY and the Qs. Starting off with the SPY, we do see an upward move of 557.16 and a downward move of 547 on the dot. Now there's a key thing with both of these, and that is going to be this. Making a move like this tomorrow for the SPY would take you outside of the monthly expected move, and you would be outside of a weekly expected move in the same week, and we get a bunch of data this week. Is that data going to pile on, and we're just going to keep seeing crazy? We'll see. Now, the key thing was, remember in this area, we had that 2 hour looking like it was going to curl up for the SPY, but it never did. And the key thing here is, even on a 30-minute, as you see that cross back down, this sign right here was a sign for there is no reason for positivity, as that did not curl back up. We always want to treat it like this could be really, really bad, because every once in a while you see something really bad and it can really beat up your account. And then if you would have seen that reverse back around, you could say, okay, that's a good sign. But that never reversed back around. This was downward the entire time. So that 2 hour is still within range of positive territory, but it's going to be some work. And maybe this wick up has something to say. As of tomorrow, it's going to be really dependent, I believe, on that JOLTs job opening. We will still be live tomorrow morning for that morning stream, which, by the way, thank you so much for coming to the stream today and mentioning that the course links were having some trouble. It looked like Teachable's website had some trouble there. So because that did happen, we are going to extend that for one more day. So if you would like to come to the live stream tomorrow and ask about any of the courses down in the description, it will give you a great understanding of how to manage a trade. And that's something very, very important right here. If you were thinking that this was going to be a breakout to the upside, hey, you weren't the only one. It looked like that was the most likely direction. But then we get some bad price action. We gap below a daily expected move for the Qs, and we see downside. So you need to know how to manage your trade. That is something that we teach in the technical indicators course. You can get the swing trading course and the technical indicators course right now, pretty much a value of probably $1,500 to $3,000 for $150, right? We're trying to make it so anyone can really access this information, learn how to trade, learn these type of things, learn about the MACD and the RSI. That way you can maybe even invest if you're someone who can't pay too close attention to the market. And if you're someone paying attention to the closer time frames, hey, it's going to be perfectly fine for you as well. And even on YouTube, we give you some extra stuff, and on Patreon, we give you some stuff with those weekly expected moves. And on here, we give you those daily expected moves. So hopefully those are helpful. How I could see this going forward, first of all, we need to see if this 30-minute can gain some ground, but our sellers now going to be meeting us as that weekly expected move can turn into resistance. You see the upward move is here. This is the downward one, so that's going to be a big deal. Let's flash over to the Qs that way, because I'm running out of time. That way we can give you those daily expected moves. We do see 468.13 to the upside and 455.49 to the downside. Key thing here, you're right by that monthly expected move. If you come outside of this, 68% chance to bounce, but 32% chance to see something crazy like we did today, like we're experiencing right now this week. You still have a 68% chance to do something like this, but that could take all the way until Friday before that actually does happen. So we'll pay attention to that. JOLTs job openings is going to be very important for this one. Now, I don't blame you if the Qs beat you up today. The Qs were the trickier one, because they actually did give you a crossing up on a 2 hour saying, hey, we want to head to the upside. And then we noticed that you have to manage the trade. So we talk about that a lot in the course. It's down in the description, but the 30-minute here crossed down right here, went below that move. And this is something I'll talk about because I think someone had this problem today, and it's not really a fault of their own. It's just you need to understand these ranges. They are not a surefire thing. They are a 68% zone. So what do we do in the course? We teach you how to find reversal signals outside of these areas that can then lead to a big move back into the zone. That's what we try to teach you in the course, and we can use things like divergences and other things like that to create our 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. So This does not mean if you end up coming down here early on in the week, you have to, right? That would be 100% chance to land back in this zone. When you break through this zone and you see that momentum confirm down on your MACD, it is more likely to see something crazy. So you want to treat this like this can be very bad. And if it turns around, then I can make a decision that this is going to go, have a higher probability of going back in that zone. But as of right now, curled over on this MACD. So a problem a lot of people have is it comes out of this early on in the week, they take calls and boom, that goes to the upside. And that does work sometimes. It really does work. Actually, 68% of the time, it does work. But for the most part, you want to be a smart trader. You want to learn the skills early on, the good habits and all that kind of stuff. A good habit is treating this like, wow, this could be really bad, because this is exactly the area where it can be bad, right? This is exactly the area where something unexpected from the options market is happening. And that's why you have to pay attention to downside, when that's curling down, when you need to manage that trade, not just YOLOing because this says 68% chance. That's rolling a dice and saying there's a 68% chance to see the number 2 or whatever. It's more along the lines of follow the signals. If they would have turned up like this, you might have even had a divergence or something like that between those lows, but that did not happen. There was no reason for upside after this thing crossed down on this 30-minute MACD, and I felt that was important to say. So for tomorrow, for the Qs, just be paying attention, because if we come up to this area, this can hold as some resistance now. Your weekly, when you do cross through that, it can now become resistance, and that's a key thing to understand. As of right now, to the downside, your support would be that 455-ish price point, and you do have 2 of our expected moves right there, the daily and the monthly. So if we do this early on in the month, we're going to be looking for reversal signals. We're going to be looking for rigged behavior and stuff like that. Something that I'm noticing, are we seeing rigged behavior here? Are we seeing buying behind the curtain? Not necessarily. You're actually seeing the dollar remain at higher levels. The only thing that's tricky for me, and why I'm writing notes on this and trying to study it for you guys, is because you don't see the dollar squeeze too often, right? Squeeze too often. And then at the same time, gold is not actually reacting to a stronger dollar, really. It's coming down, but it's not coming down enough, in my opinion, for that to really take place. So what I want to pay attention to here is this in some way retail forcing the dollar higher, almost like a FOMO back into cash, FOMO selling, and we're actually going to see maybe a piece of good data that actually sends this back down to pull back, and then we'll see if it creates that structure. So something to pay attention to with the dollar, but as of right now, you do have volatility that is scaling up very, very quickly, crossed up on a 2-hour. Good things happen with the 2-hour. Now I have taken actually all of my volatility positions out. Even though that looked like it was crossing up at the end of the day, it kind of faded back down. So you haven't gotten that crossing of the MACD. I want to see what happens with the JOLTs job openings. I want to treat my trade with volatility like, hey, this was a good trade. Now I'm waiting and being patient and looking for the next one. That is how I'm going to go forward with this. And then I can maybe take some fun plays or something like that while I'm waiting for those things to set up. But another thing about volatility, we mentioned multiple times, crash signal is still here. We're going to get a short squeeze. We're going to maybe react down to the 200 and see some kind of reaction. We're still holding above the 200. We could still get a reaction. We got it. So now you have to see if this is actually going to turn up into positive territory. That would be a big signal to pay attention to, especially as the Qs are dropping lower. So I thought you should be aware of that. Now you are up by 33%. So you're up by more than 10%, which means you have like an 85% chance for an update in the stock market, in the SPY, for the next 2 trading sessions. But some of the biggest moves in volatility, all of the crashes, they never did that. They never pulled back, right? They more so just saw volatility continue and continue and continue to scale up. We now have volatility above 20. So I would expect a rip around kind of market. Some bigger moves in the overall stock market makes total sense here. So I know it was a shorter video. We didn't get to go into the individual stocks, but at least you got those daily ranges. And hopefully if you do, we're thinking about taking the course and maybe you just missed it by a day. Hey, it's going to be up there until tomorrow morning. If you do have questions, please come in and ask. I really appreciate a few people actually came in, asked about the course, and then it's nice to see people in the chat telling them how it has really changed their trading. And I think that's awesome to see. I really love this community that we're building here. And thank you so much for liking, because you guys are the reason that this community is growing. And I just hope to be helpful. And that's the overall goal with this channel. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. Get those daily ranges on your charts, and we'll see what happens tomorrow with that JOLTs job openings. All right, guys, see you later. Peace.